We are talking about hospice wives today.
Like, what the hell is a hospice wife, right?
Hospice wives.
Hey, everybody.
So,
Whew,
yeah.
man.
So I saw this woman on social media talking about this. I keep wanting to say new phenomenon, but it's really not new.
At all.
It's something that's been going on
Forever.
for many moons. But they call it hospice wives. It's when a man has reached a certain age, 50s, 60s, whatever, with some cases 70s, and they have hoard around. They wait to have medical issues, dicks don't work, all of that, and now they want to get married.
Now they want to settle down.
They want somebody to cook for them. They want somebody to clean for them, just care for them overall. And it's called hospice wives. That's what they're looking for. What do you think about that?
Sounds like it's happening.
It's been happening, though, right? I mean, for as long as I've liked boys, which is, probably since I was...
In the beginning.
Yeah, in the beginning. Nonetheless, men have, dreaded, I think, the idea of, oh, my God, settling down, one woman for the rest of my life, supposedly one piece, right? I don't think that this is a new thing. I think this is just the evolution of man and the evolution of life in his head. That, at some point I have to stop all this. And that's going to be when I have
and I need to be with
one life
person.
left.
Yeah.
I've used all my
right.
my 8.
Nothing works on me anymore.
And
just as they lower the casket.
Really, right.
Just as they lower.
Exactly.
But you know what? And that's damn near the truth.
That is, right. That's
damn
terrible.
near the truth.
So you're a man.
That's why I said, what do you think?
And single. I don't know about the whoring around part, but definitely non-married.
I'm like, okay.
Is that tea or water?
Right? And you need to put a tea bag in there and stir it.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't feel pressure to settle down with someone. I mean, I've always believed in the institution of marriage. I've had my shots at it, and right now, I mean, I'm looking to settle down. Most of my stuff is working.
Oh, you did say that.
Yeah, but look how old you are. I mean, you're not 20, you're not 30, you're not 40.
So do you think subconsciously?
I would have been a horrible husband in my 20s.
And the reason why was because you weren't ready to do it.
But do you think that, would you have been a horrible husband because you were still whoring around?
I mean, I'm not confessing to that. I will tell you that.
It was like, wait a minute now.
Okay, so what would you say?
You're not under oath.
Why would you have been a horrible husband in your 20s?
I wasn't focused and concentrating enough to be a good husband to somebody, to be a good helpmate, to be a partner. I was not that person in my 20s and even in my 30s.
That's how most men feel, though. And they feel like there's too much life for them to live, too much fun to be had, too much opportunity out there, too much variety. Right. Too much easy shit coming at them
and I
to
think
settle down with that one person.
So many men have it in their mind, what the statistics say. There's so many women in the world. It's just they, some people who are, especially men who are coming out of marriages or coming out of relationships, they're just like, I want to have my fun. I want to, I'm just going to brush my teeth, go to work. I'm going to put the condom on, just in case I get to work and there's something waiting for me. And then, I'm just saying, they just walk around with a condom on all day because they just feel like they need to be ready. But, and now that we are in this big old age, as the kids would say, now these men want to settle down and get married.
Right. I mean, like in my life, I broke down and decrepit,
so
but it's
most
true.
of them are reaching back and getting somebody younger because in their, theoretically, a younger person should be healthier and able to care for them. But some of them are just like, I just want to get married. I don't want somebody to cook for me, And
First of all, with the younger woman, I mean, you're going to have different problems.
True. We already know that.
Yeah.
It's true.
She, man, you get 139, she got one more baby left in her.
That's true.
You know,
I got one good egg.
right,
That's true.
and you know, she
You
ain't,
guys can make
she
babies
ain't
until they lower you in the ground.
basically,
Mhm.
but she hasn't, you know, she hasn't wrecked her credit for the second time. I mean, it's, you know, she's got some growing to do. And when you find out, you know, the Bible talks about being equally yoked.
Mm-hmm.
And when you find out that you're not equally yoked with that person, you know, you're talking about getting your eggs in a row so for retirement, and they're talking about, you know, getting a butt lift to go and going to the DR. You
Yeah.
know, it's crazy.
Yeah. So let's look at it from a different perspective. I think the man who's looking for somebody to take care of him, he may want a pretty young looking thing, but I think at that point he's just like, I need somebody healthier than me.
Yeah.
You know, not
So-
necessarily I need a,
Yeah, that was
you know,
my point.
spring chicken.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because she's gonna fly away. You know, she's gonna have eyes for somebody who
and she's
can
gonna
do
get
stuff.
pregnant. She could. The possibility
She got
is
one
there.
more.
Yeah.
She got one more in her.
The possibility
Yeah.
is there.
True.
So, yeah.
I just think that this is a very selfish concept for a man
Hospice
to.
Wives.
And you said last
I like that
week
term,
that, you know,
though.
you gotta be you know, selfish in this life a little bit. And I get it. Your life is your life. Live it the way you want to. But, you know, especially with a woman who's been maybe by your side for years and years, hoping to get married to you, and then you finally want to commit to after you didn't have the stroke. You know what I mean? And you blind in one eye, you got one bad cataract and the other.
Diabetes.
You know,
What's the other
diabetes.
thing that don't
Right.
work?
You know.
Right. You ain't swinging like you used to, right?
And,
You know.
and let me just say this. I mean, we're making light of it. Erectile dysfunction happens. It really does. It happens. Women go through menopause. Men go through andropause. And
It doesn't have to happen to men like.
it doesn't. But I'm just saying, I'm making light of them. You know.
Yeah.
But it is a fact that many men in our age bracket,
Yeah.
stuff starts. You know, it starts working. And so then you want to wait after you have taken your hose and watered the whole block, and now, sorry babe, and now you want to get married to some unsuspecting victim who has been, you know, either in the picture or not in the picture, who just doesn't know that in fact she's really a hospice.
Yeah.
I just really love that term.
It's creative.
I know, it's very creative.
Nonetheless,
Couple things
it's
I want
old.
to clarify. Number one, I you know, I hate speaking for all men, but I don't think that I know that we don't sit around and talk about it like, man, you know, now I'm 50, I can go ahead and settle down, or, you know, I got 10 more years of playing left. It kind of happens. The other thing that I want to say is that, you know, men do what they are allowed to do.
Absolutely.
There you go. I agree with that.
People do in general,
Yeah.
but especially
Yeah,
Yeah.
but and I'm speaking in this situation,
Yeah.
men are allowed to do those things. You know, you talked earlier about someone that's been with somebody for 8 years. I mean, man, you know, you got 3 years after 50, and we need to be going in some type of direction. All of that, you know, Oprah and stay together because we love each other. No, we're gonna put a ring on it. We're gonna do something. After 3 years, something has to happen. I'm sorry.
So 3 years is your time stamp?
After 50.
after 50,
Okay.
3 years is all right. So what if you're coming out of a divorce at 49 and you meet somebody, you're after 50.
52, pick a date in June and go on and make that shit work.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So that whole hospice phenomenon, you are not interested in marrying somebody. Well, obviously not. You don't need anybody to cook for you because you do that.
I like
do
to see
very
other
well.
people cook. I mean, it's a very good
But you
role
would-
play
but you wouldn't be
called
looking
Naked
for a
Chefs.
wife.
That's great.
But you wouldn't be looking. You wouldn't
All
be
the
seeking
forks
a
in the
wife
bottom
just
drawer.
for that. Okay. You say all the. Gary.
You're not looking. So I don't, like you said, men aren't thinking like, hey, yeah, man, you know, I feel like I'm getting a little sick. Maybe I should go ahead and buy a
Right.
ring.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
conscious or deliberate.
But I think it is subconscious. And I think as people start to trickle off and get sicker in your friend group, you start to realize like,
Sicker and dying.
this might not be such a, you know, far-fetched idea for me to settle down. This might be something I need to
And,
really
I,
look
and,
at.
I, and I'll say, marriage is beautiful. It is beautiful if you're married to the right person for the right reasons. It is absolutely beautiful. And I just don't think that people should use it as a way of looking for a maid, basically, or a nurse, or a nursemaid.
I mean, a man can make the same argument, don't look at this for a sugar daddy, for, a bankroll, for...
We could.
Yeah.
They could.
So, I mean, there's an argument
because-
to be had there, but I do feel like it's a choice that you have to make when you get married, whether it's the right person or the wrong person. You have to choose that person and that situation every day. Keep choosing it every day. So it may work, even if it's for the wrong reasons. If you're choosing it, just choose it.
I just think that it's unfortunate that, you would look at something like that. I mean, if it happens, if it's organic, whatever, but to say, man, I need somebody to say I want somebody to grow old with me, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
To say that I'm going to need somebody to take care of me, that's kind of bad intent. That's intent I can't deal with.
Yeah.
And marriage is very difficult, and it is beautiful. It is natural to want companionship, going all the way back to Noah's Ark. It is natural to want somebody, 2 by 2. It is natural, and I think it's a beautiful thing. But I think as far as working at it, I think you'd be less inclined to work at something if you do it for the wrong reason.
So when you talk about death and getting sick and stuff like that, whether I'm married, not married, friend, cousin, I'm not letting anybody that I love go through a sickness by themselves. I just wouldn't do it. So, like,
And I mean,
I'm going to show up. You know what I mean? God forbid anything ever happen to us, but I'm gonna be there. It's no doubt about it. So, someone needing someone, I don't think it's a bad thing, because everybody needs somebody, and you're gonna die. It's inevitable. We're gonna die. How we die, we don't know, but
Right.
somebody is going to need something. I'm gonna need something. You're gonna need something. If you're in my life, I'm gonna be there. Period. Point blank. I don't need a ring. I don't need blood. I don't need, and we don't have to have 45 years of friendship. I'm just gonna be there. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's such a bad thing, if you've experienced death and you know what that looks like, to say that I don't by myself the whole time, miserable and lonely because I don't have anybody. I don't think that's such a bad thing. I think it's bad to only feel like I want somebody in my life because of that, but I don't think it's a bad thing to
want. Or have a
want
person thinking that
companionship,
you want to
friendship.
marry them because you love them, but really you have this clandestine reason that they have no idea that you just want somebody
to take care of you.
Take care of you.
And that's the type
That
of
is
stuff.
insane.
Wipe my mouth.
Yes.
That's the type of stuff to get you put in a home.
Yeah.
Especially when you talk about one of these young ones, like
They just sign you off. Right.
Don't nothing work. You be better off there. They take care of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, you can't. I think when you go into it with that type of intent, and it's not something that's communicated, it's okay if you tell a person that, hey, I'm getting older. I'm set in my ways.
Yeah.
I want to be with somebody.
Yeah.
Man, I want to make these last couple years or decades or
If
whatever
that's
enjoyable.
the conversation that's had, then that's good. That's like some people who are in their 20s and 30s and say, you know what, we're best friends, man and woman, and if we don't have anybody by the time we're 40, let's have a kid. So if you talk about that beforehand, like, okay, we're both 61,
Right.
62, and we don't want to die alone. Let's spend the rest of our days together. Then that's one thing. But just to whole hospice wife.
Right.
I liken this to a situation. I've actually known 3 people. They were in relationships, and the guy was incarcerated. They had like these long-term relationships. Well, not that long, but long enough.
With people who were in prison?
They were in a relationship with someone who became incarcerated.
Oh, okay.
And so all of a sudden, I want to get married.
Of course.
I want to get married. You know what I mean? And it wasn't pressing, before they got married. Like, oh, we got time, yeah, baby. But they want to get married right away. So I liken this to that because I don't want to be in prison by
I want
myself.
somebody waiting for me.
I want someone waiting. I want you to put money on my books. I want, you know what I mean? I need letters. I need something. I need somebody on the outside. Again, very selfish.
I need to be
very
tied
unfair.
to someone on the outside.
I need some roots somewhere.
Yeah.
Exactly. I just feel like that's so selfish, though.
It's incredibly selfish.
I'm gonna give you what you want. You've always wanted to marry me. You know what I mean? Now you can marry me.
It's incredibly selfish.
But I'm
if the conversation
in the federal.
wasn't had first. Like this is what it is. I need companionship. I need this. It's almost contractual.
Yeah.
Love you, not in love with you, but this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
But if you have somebody thinking that, okay, yeah, I'm in love with you, let's do this, you are not going to work at that marriage. That marriage is doomed from the beginning.
I agree. I mean, we keep touching on the communication piece of it. You have to let somebody know what your intentions are, especially if it's that. And, I ask this, that, hey, tell the truth. And I mean, I want to be totally transparent. I had to grow to that because I was one of the world's great liars. Outstanding. And you'd be surprised. Earlier last week, it wasn't yesterday, I went to church Sunday.
Creative and everything about it, right?
Man, they had detail and layers, but you'd be surprised at what a woman will say yes to if you just ask.
That's true.
That's
very true.
Again, I want to be honest. That's something that I had to learn in later life. That this is what it is. Deal with it or don't.
Right.
That's very true.
It's the fact that when you lie, you take away a person's choice.
Oh.
And they may say,
yes,
I would have gone with that, but you lied to me. So now I'm operating under a different pretense.
Right. And now the trust is gone.
And
right. That's very true.
And, and trust is never repaired. Trust.
I don't know if I agree with that. It can be.
It's tolerated.
It's a choice.
It's
a choice.
It's
what is that Japanese art that is, I can't remember the name of it, that is, it's like ceramic and when you break it and then you glue it all back together and you seal it with gold. It's beautiful. I can't remember the name of it. It's escaping me. But it's never the same. So I agree with both of you. You can work on it, but I think that when trust is broken, I don't know if it's ever the same. It takes a lot of work.
It can
be beautiful. You can piece it back together, and it can be beautiful. But it does take work. But everybody's not willing to do that.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, because it takes a lot.
I've seen some beautiful examples of love where there was trust. Like the young lady at the conference that we went to, she talked about her husband going to med school in California and her holding it down here. And, I got a chance to talk to her after that. And just, the whole concept was that they trusted each other.
Yep.
And they were in it to win it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That was
nice. It was beautiful.
It actually worked out for everybody, She needed quiet and peace,
When she was getting her type 75.
Yeah, he quiet and peace, so them being apart, but, he was in med school, yeah.
And the original move was to accommodate him.
Absolutely.
And then she was like, hey, wait, hold on, change the plans.
Yeah.
And then they did it and they put it together. And I ended up talking to her afterwards, but it was just such a loving thing because they made it work because they were able to trust each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's nice.
They had the end goal on their mind every day.
But, that whole hospice piece where you running around, cruising for nurse type people.
So here's what follows with that. So let's say you do get married. You become a hospice wife. This is the person that you did want. You don't turn off your love switch just because someone is sick or someone is,
absolutely.
less mobile and agile.
Right.
You still love them.
Or because something doesn't work. Go ahead.
Or because something doesn't work. However, there could be resentment that grows.
Oh.
There could be resentment, as I am, taking care of you and, running you back and forth to all your appointments, that you've stolen all my good years, and I can't get them back with you. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking that could be a real thing. And I've seen situations where people are not well. I hate to just keep calling everybody sick, but not well, but their caregivers, their spouses aren't that nice to them. I've seen that. And I'm always like, where does all this meanness come from?
Well,
Like,
we've
it's
seen
crazy.
We've seen it play out where I know of one situation.
But that
where,
could be the reason why.
I know of one situation where the kids were somewhat helpful, but not all that helpful, and the mother just the stepmother just cremated daddy, and they didn't tell him about it or anything. They weren't invited to the funeral.
Dang. Was there a funeral?
I mean, it was a ceremony.
Well, circling back to you, when you were talking about,
Resentment?
well, no, which I always say that is the number one cause of divorce is resentment. It's not,
Talking about when the thing doesn't work anymore?
no. That is not what I want to talk
That
about.
is it's what you always want to talk about. Right.
So no. So that's not true. But no, I want to circle back to you saying, where's all this meanness coming from?
Oh, I'm saying it could be because of that.
Sometimes you don't know what happened earlier in the earlier years.
Yeah.
Between the married people. So you just never know. So one of my girlfriends had shared with me a story. She shared with me like, I don't know, 15, 17, 20 years ago, and I just found it hilarious. But she talked about her grandmother, her grandparents. Long story short, she was saying how nobody was speaking to her grandmother for years, and now they are speaking to her grandmother. I said, what happened? She said, well, my grandfather had a heart attack in the kitchen when they were having breakfast, her grandparents. Grandfather had a heart attack. He fell out, clutching his chest. Grandma called 911 after she finished her breakfast. And she told him to hush up or be quiet or something like that. She finished her breakfast. She called 911. He's fine. He lived. But he told everybody in the family, Ernestine didn't call the police, call the ambulance right away. So when she told me that, I hollered. She was like, that is not funny. I was like, you don't know what the hell transpired in the 60 years that they were married. You don't know what he did to her. And I'm not saying that it was right. I am not. But just listen, on the outside looking in, I just thought it was hilarious. So, I was tears, crying.
I worked for a guy, and he was older. Wildly successful, and he had a company. And so at his company, he had done really, really well. They ended up getting bought out by a bigger company, and he dropped down and had a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
And the daughter and the son-in-law and all of us were like, "Oh my God, call 911." And the new wife was like, "You can do it. Don't come back. Don't come back." She didn't say it, but you could see it in her face. She was like,
just stop breathing.
"Yeah, stop."
Give up.
Give up.
No one wants you here.
Just go. Are you ready?
And of course, we were mortified. And the daughter was there, and I felt it I felt obviously for him, but I felt like what the daughter was going through. And the son-in-law was kind of a putz, and he was but even he was shook. And she was like, it's you have to be careful about who you allow to take care of you.
You sure do.
And it involves if your only plan is to get somebody young that that check your blood pressure, you got a bad plan.
That is
You
not
should just get a caregiver.
Yeah.
It's safer.
Hire someone who has no vested interest, or hire somebody who genuinely, or not hire, or marry somebody who genuinely loves you.
Hire a wife.
Yeah. it's either genuine love or hire somebody who has no vested interest in whether they get nothing in whether you live or die.
But yeah, because people will get their lick back when given the opportunity.
Yeah.
I want to know if our audience out there, especially the men, is this something that you've actually like given thought to? Like, I will get married when I'm old as hell, and when I need a cane,
Or not
broken down and decrepit. Yes, that's what I want to know.
decrepit. I mean, so yeah, and why are you considering marriage at this big old age?
Is
Why
it for
now?
a hospice wife?
Why
is it
now?
for someone to literally
Yes.
take care of
Be
you?
honest with yourself, and then be honest with us. Drop some information in our comments and let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah, because this is a new term, but I feel like it's been around forever. Exactly.
Yes. So
But what I don't know is what men really think. I know what you think. I want to know what the rest of you guys think out there.
yeah, join us. Hey, Griselda. So let us know what you guys are thinking. And do we have any announcements to make? We are planning our next in-person event. We will keep you posted on the date. It'll be in July,
Yeah, the latter part of the month.
the end of July.
Yep.
So we will let you know.
After all the fireworks have died down. Yes.
Yes.
And NASCAR's gone.
And
In Chicago. Yes.
someplace to park.
Yes.
Right.
All right.
All right,
Everybody have
guys.
a great evening.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for tuning in.
Hanging out with us on a Thursday night.
Thursday.